indeed for coming on air to talk to us about this terrible situation with your dear lady wife. Our understanding is that a judge has actually ordered that she be released. She's an extremely unwell lady. A judge has ordered that she be released, but the British government have actually overruled that judicial hearing. Is that about right?
That's about right. It actually goes further than that. What has actually happened? Marian was arrested on the 13th of May last year.
Yeah.
Right. The charge she was arrested on, the judge immediately granted her bail on the 16th of May.
Yeah.
The Secretary of State, Warren Patterson, had prior to the judge's decision revoked a licence that he claimed Marian had been released on in 1980.
Good God.
The problem came as soon as we were told that he had revoked her licence. We told the court that he had no right to revoke a licence, that Marian had been released on a pardon a week after the licence in 1980. Of course, when the prosecution heard this, there was a bit of furore in the court, and then they said that they couldn't find the pardon. They admitted that there was a pardon, but they couldn't find it. Months later, after Marian had been held in solitary for months, I might add, the court had ordered the prosecution to produce the pardon. The court was told that the pardon couldn't be found. It was believed shredded.
Unbelievable.
Now, the amazing thing about this, as you may gather, is a royal prerogative of mercy, a serious legal document. They claim it was destroyed. The funny thing about the situation being, it's the only one in the history of English law that can't be produced. And we find that a bit fairy tale-like, that we are asked to believe that of all the pardons in history, this one can't be produced. Yet, if it were produced, as I say, they would have no right to hold Marian in prison.
No. We understand, can I call you Jerry?
Yes, no problem at all.
Jerry, we understand that Marian is being held in complete isolation. Is that still the case?
It's not the case now. She's been moved to hospital a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
She has contact with hospital staff.
Right.
But one of the scary things about it is she had been held in solitary confinement for over a year.
I mean, that's
originally in Maghaberry Mail prison. And then she was moved supposedly on health grounds to Hydebank, where the conditions were even worse.
Yeah.
She was held in an isolated cell at the end of a corridor. No access to fresh air or normal daylight. There were no windows early open.
And this, of course, amounts, I mean, in the view of the United Nations, this amounts to a form of torture, doesn't it?
Most certainly. Juan Mendez, in a report last October, said that solitary confinement should never be used, and that more than 15 days constituted torture, and a deterioration in people's both physical and mental health, from which recovery would take a long time.
Oh, this is appalling. It's appalling.
The problem with Marian's now in hospital. She was moved there. The family think in a very funny way. She was moved there 3 days before a visit from United Nations doctors.
Well.
Who were therefore unable to see the conditions she was being kept in Hydebank.
Yeah.
Now, if that is the case, the family are still glad she's been moved to hospital, but she's now receiving some of the treatment she required. But a scary item from our point of view is days after she'd been moved from hospital, the prison service blocked the windows in the wards in the hospital so she couldn't see out.
God.
Now, thank God, the hospital immediately ordered them taken down.
Absolutely.
And they were taken down the next day.
Absolutely.
But to us, it shows where the prison service and the authorities are actually coming from. They're trying to
it's a form of mental torture, isn't it?
Yeah, they're trying to destroy her mentally, you know.
Absolutely. Now, I mean, we've been covering Marian's case for a couple of weeks now. It was brought to our attention, and we're not afraid to ask, why here. And several people in Cornwall are now becoming aware of this, and we do have many connections here with Ireland. Many historical connections with Ireland in Cornwall. So, we are watching this with great interest, and indeed, in the case of Tony and myself, with shock and horror. Basically, the British government have signed up to the Human Rights Act, and they are still responsible for the north of Ireland. Now, those human rights surely must apply for as long as they claim that the north of Ireland is part of their United Kingdom. Their human rights must apply to that northern part of Ireland, mustn't it?
You would think so, but you have to remember it's not just Marian. Only last week, a male, Martin Corey, was ordered released from prison by a judge, and the judge claimed that his human rights were being abused, that Owen Patterson had no right to jail him. He was sitting awaiting the actual release, and Owen Patterson then revoked the release again, blocked the release, and the review hearing cannot now take place apparently until the 20th of September,
right,
which is a further 2 months away for a man who's already unjustly detained.
Yeah.
Now, your listeners may or may not be aware that less than a month ago, a UN report again condemned Britain's human rights record, and the conditions in British prisons amount to torture.
Well, we're well aware of what's going on in Maghaberry. I mean, a friend of ours, now sadly deceased, has been campaigning for years to expose the inhumanities of that particular institution. You know, and I understand Marian was actually detained there for a while.
She was there for 9-10 months. And but the UN report also condemns one of the things that you'll need to watch out for, because they're trying to bring it into England as well, is lengthy pre-trial detention. And in effect, what happens here, there have been people in jail here held for more than 2 years, and when they eventually get their court case, the case is thrown out that they're found innocent, but they've been in prison for 2 or 3 years. Which
is punishment without trial, and
totally.
That is completely contrary to any human rights law. And these human rights, you know, I mean, the UK, or we call it the Westminster government, you know, are held aloft as being the mother of all parliaments, the mother of democracy, and yet we're hearing about these breaches of human rights which are occurring not only in the north of Ireland, but also on the British mainland as well now, you know. And I mean, it's just not... can I ask you, Jerry, how are the family coping? I mean, I'm not sure of obviously, it's your wife, but are there children and grandchildren?
We have 2 children, and of course she has sisters and a brother. The wider family are all affected by this. Because, of course, as we visit Marian, we see her deteriorating, and we see her condition go on, and we all love her very much.
Yeah, of course you do.
As I say, it springs wider than Marian now, because more people are being arrested, the more Owen Patterson is getting away with here, for want of a better phrase, the more the wrongs are mounting up. And despite previous rulings, as I'm sure you're well aware, right back, Britain has been accused and found guilty of human rights abuses in Ireland and the north of